Let's begin today's Vanguard news with all of the new characters for the second season of Vanguard Divinez being revealed along with their destined card. Kuon and Levidrus were previously showed off, but now its title is revealed to be Destined One of Infinity. We all thought that he was going to be Akina's rival, but the opposite of Infinity is Zero, so it stands to reason that Suo will be his rival. The Laronral lookalike character Yuna is predictably not playing Laronral, but is instead using a new unit called Destined One of Supremacy Liael. Yuna is apparently a big fan of Mikoto, so that Bushiroad has an excuse to make two lyrical Monasteria users rivals, and that no smelly men or dragons are allowed in this idle war. Taizo's friend Kiyoma, that he spoke in a phone call in one episode, will be using a Dragon Empire unit called Destined One of Scales Equilibra. Expect a subplot regarding their companies, that they are going to settle their business disputes with a children's card game. And that worked so well for Shion back in Gears Crisis. Because Bushiroad is catering to a demographic that hopes of one day of making a living off playing card games. Now's rival that was teased back in season 1 is a pro fighter named Sinka, and will be voiced by none other than Misaki's voice actor. Her destined card is a brand gate unit called Destined One of Excellence Impuldio. If you squint your eyes enough, it looks a lot like Alter Ego Messiah if it had a humanoid mode. I would even go as to speculate that she may be using the lock mechanic on her own rear guards during the opponent's turn as to protect them from Vugger's sword swings. For all the Alden mains that thought their dex was just made to job against Griffogula, Jinky is back along with Alden being upgraded to Destined One of Protection Alden. He's obviously going to be Masanora's rival, seeing as both characters were the villain at one point. So I expect Alona to be the next recurring character if we get a season 3, and maybe Omina Gruzio finally gets out of its masks phase. And to everyone's shock, Hikari is back with Liael going to her roots as a Gear Chronicle and becoming a Dark States unit called Destined One of Time Liaelodium. Amorta meaning loving, while Odium meaning hatred. What the hell did Raziel do to make Liael into going full goth? And the implication of this reveal asks the question, will Liael Amorta still be getting new support? I speculate that Liaelodium is a dual nation unit, as it may be the only way for Amorta to actually get support. It would also be a good opportunity to use the dual nation mechanic on a card that actually needs it for both the lore and gameplay perspective. The season 2 of Vanguard Divinez streams on 5th of July in Western Land, 6th of July here in Asia, since we are from the future. Because Bushiroad is keeping Vanguard's opening and ending still be made in-house, Strawberry Prince will be doing the opening and Mygo will be doing the ending. It feels like we are circling around 3 to 4 bands currently employed at Bushiroad Music. All 6 of the destined units will have divine skills which will be revealed at a later time. Meanwhile only 5 of them will be in DZBT-04, with Liaelodium being the cover unit of DZBT-05. Those who have the original fated units as their decks might want to get this set, as it'll probably contain the actual new support since DZBT-02. If you're wondering the lack of encounter decks in DZBT-03, it's because those slots were taken by Lyrical Monasteria, as DZLBT-01 will not only have the other Prism Girls Rosa Vert and Clear, it will also have the Burger Queen herself Coral. Fishing season is in full swing like you swing your long fishing rods. Due to the slight success of Moshiking, Bushiroad is once again teaming up with Sega to bring one of their old card arcade games to Vanguard. Love and Berry will be the X cards in the Japanese version of DZBT-05. Kind of a missed opportunity. This dress up game came to Vanguard when all of the dress mechanics besides Lyrical Monasteria have all been phased out. It's the moment you've all been waiting for, a new restriction list, which unfortunately is non-existent because Bushiroad thinks that Lua Draziel Shiranui Vugger or Zorga aren't topping enough to warrant a hit. Ironic coming from the format that strictly implements diversity cuts in their tournaments. Let us hope that the English restriction list is better, assuming that Bushiroad Global doesn't just copy paste the Japanese PowerPoint presentation. In the meantime, either enjoy the Tier 0 Shiranui format, especially with Festival Collection coming up, or go play some other game that the Nintendo Direct showcased earlier. Time for some promo cards for Bermuda Triangle and Gear Chronicle in Premium, so that players don't suspect that the format is slowly being phased out. Hydraulic Purity Cordelia is your typical Vanguard cycle card whose only unique skill is removing a heal trigger from your hand or drop zone when put on the Guardian Circle to call a card with a grade equal or lower to your Vanguard, but its auto abilities can't be used. Then either pay 1 counterblast to give your Vanguard 5k power for that turn if you called a grade 1 or lower unit, or she gets 20k shields if you called a grade 2 or higher unit. I can't believe actually released a Bermuda Triangle card with an actual downside of not being able to trigger your auto abilities as well as only being able to use one of the 2 effects. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Bermuda Triangle is finally punished. Steam Archer Kalumum is your typical Vanguard cycle card whose only unique skill is removing a heal trigger from your hand or drop zone when put on the Guardian Circle and you have 1 or more cards in your bind zone to get 20k shields. Then you can pay 1 counterblast if your bind zone has 3 or more cards. Give your Vanguard 5k power for that turn. Bushiroad intentionally didn't make this card into a Steam Maiden, so it couldn't easily be search out, which lowers its utility. As per tradition, the new characters and their Vanguard units will be getting deck accessory merchandise. Expect all of the waifu sleeves to be hoarded and be sold by a huge markup by your local secondary market, since they know you're thirsty enough to give in. Now that all of the actual exciting content is done, it's time to sharpen your pointy pencils once more as Mitsu's alleged forefinger and one thumb finally gets her support revealed in Liael BT01. Starry Sky Lucetta once per turn while on rear guard lets you put a grade 3 card from your drop zone to the bottom of your deck when your cannonball card is put into the drop zone from your order zone to get 10k power. Like always, any cost that is actually a hidden effect is always going to be good. In this case, being able to return your flower cannonball, the 10k power is more of a bonus. Glistening Mood Mitsu when riding over first to head towards a Dream Mitsu lets you add up to 1 knock no or cannonball card from your deck or drop zone. Then activate Persona Ride. Once per turn while on Vanguard, you can bind first to head towards a Dream Mitsu from your soul to retire an opponent's regard, then reduce the cost of her cannonball ability by 2 soul blast. You ride the bound card by this ability at the end of your turn in rest state. And while on Vanguard, you can pay 2 soul blast when she attacks a Vanguard to retire one of your opponent's rear guards, then she gets 10k power. First off, props for the R&D in actually making her into an alternate Persona Ride like the other Craycross epic units instead of just putting the dress up mechanic. Secondly, she can finally use those Gatling guns to actually retire an opponent's rear guard instead of just pumping herself up. Star Song Prayer Knock No while on rear guard gets 10k power if your cannonball card was put from the order zone into the drop zone this turn. And once per turn while on rear guard, you can pay 1 counter and soul blast if you have a grade 3 or higher Glitter Mitsu Vanguard to get an auto ability that lets her perform a drive check when she attacks. If your rear guards did not perform a drive check this turn yet, this in my opinion is a downgrade from the original Knock No, since that prevented the opponent from using their effect heal and front triggers because you had a grade 1 Vanguard. This Knock No however is just another rear guard that can perform a drive check. What you can do however is attack with her first, then attack with Mitsu, and then use the grade 1 Knock No to put her on Vanguard to attack with, thus letting you perform 4 drive checks in a single turn. Waiting for this day, Raferica when placed on rear guard lets you pay 3 energy if you have all set up in your order zone to add up to 1 cannonball card from the top 7 cards of your deck. And while on rear guard, you can put her into your soul if you have a grade 3 Mitsu Vanguard to ride up to 1 Glistening Mood Mitsu from your deck. You cannot activate Persona Ride this turn if your Vanguard was placed during your ride phase or you Persona Rode this turn. So Mitsu gets her ride up cycle card as a rare. Meanwhile every other Craycross epic has to pull them from tournament promo packs. Lyrical Monasteria is never punished even when trying to get their supports. Speaking of which, DZLBT01 will have reprints of sought after cards like Valche Blanc, Aura, and all of the effect triggers. And yes, these are actual reprints, and not the stupid Asari rarity reprint. Finally, here are Mitsu and Knock No's LSR artworks. Mitsu seems like she's auditioning for the next character in Dolphin Wave. Meanwhile Bushiroad actually brought back the legs rarity for Knock No. Too bad you won't enjoy it as the card text will obviously obscure them. And that concludes this Vanguard news without the bullshit. Special thanks to my Patreon members for continuing to support my content creation. Be sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments if you're planning on taking a hiatus if the English game doesn't get a new restriction list.